Okay, so today we're going to be making crawfish etouffee, which is like a variant on gumbo. A lot of the ingredients that I'm putting in here, you would put in gumbo. The main difference is etouffee is thicker than a gumbo, but I prefer the flavor I get when I eat an etouffee. So what we have here is 1 pound of shrimp. We have 2 pounds of medium shrimp. 1 big sweet onion of Vidalia. I put okra in mine. Yes, I know it doesn't go typically in etouffee, but I'm putting it in mine because I like the taste of it. I put fennel. Fennel's really good. It gives it a nice, it's kind of hard to explain the flavor. Like if you eat it raw, it tastes like licorice, but if you cook it, it tastes different. I got a mixture of sweet peppers and jalapeno peppers. Here I have 2 pounds of jumbo shrimp. Over here I have celery. I put a good amount of celery. I like mine to be more hearty. Here I have diced tomatoes. I chose to use the Rotel diced tomatoes with habaneros. I like my stuff spicy. Over here I got what we would call andouille sausage. Once again, that goes in gumbo, but for me, I'm putting it in my etouffee. And here, 4 tablespoons of Cajun seasoning. We have seafood stock, tomato paste, a little clam juice. Probably gonna put a dash of Worcestershire sauce and a couple dabs of hot sauce. Okay, so here I'm making a big batch of etouffee. So I'm using my Cordera pot that I got from ShopRite. I'm using 2 sticks of butter. Okay guys, so basically after you put your 2 sticks of butter, you melt it down. Once it's melted, you add 1 cup of flour to start making your roux, and you stir it and mix it until it starts to get more slightly darker, you know, to burn off the starches and give it more of a nutty flavor. You have to think of your roux as like wet sand at low tide. It's supposed to be moist but not runny. As it cooks, it's going to get darker, and the flavor will become more complex, as I said. But what you also need to understand is as it gets darker, it loses the ability to thicken because you break down all the starches. So basically, the color shouldn't be too dark, but like a nice, I'm not sure how to explain the color. Well, I guess you could say similar to sand. You know how sand's not exactly white, but it's not like brown either. It's a good consistency. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is start adding our vegetables, starting with the fennel, and then from there the celery, the green peppers, and onions. Huh? What are you talking about? Heartless. What are you talking about? Oh. From here, we're going to add the Tony Chachere's Cajun seasoning to your mixture of vegetables, and make sure that you incorporate it very well. That way all the flavor gets throughout. Next up, we're adding our diced tomatoes. We're going to make sure that we add the juices from it, because you can't go wrong with the juices. It adds flavor to it and enhances it. After everything's been well incorporated, the next thing we're going to do is add our seafood stock. My seafood stock I had put in a pot, and I added the shells from the crawfish and boiled it a little more to get some of the flavor from that. From there, we're going to pour it in slowly, nice and slowly, or well, it doesn't really have to be slowly, but you get what I'm saying, and start to stir it. Okay, now it looks like it's starting to thicken up a bit. And once it starts to thicken up a bit, you can add your okra and your andouille sausage. Now the okra is going to cause it to thicken up a lot more because of the stickiness that's inside of it. Sausage. Okay, and give this a little bit of time before you add the final ingredients. A little bit of tomato paste, some Worcestershire sauce, a couple dash of hot sauce, a little gumbo file, and throw the shrimp in at the very end. Give this time to simmer up the andouille sausages and take some of the flavor. I'm gonna add the tomato paste because I like my color to be a little darker than this. I could have browned the roux a little more, but I didn't want to take out all the starches so that it could still be thick. we're gonna add the Worcestershire sauce. About 2 tablespoons of that should be good. Worcestershire sauce. And hot sauce. I'm using my Red Hot. That's also about 2 teaspoons. That's the last of my bottle. Okay, now I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons smoked paprika. And the same for cayenne pepper. I like a little heat. Look at that color it's getting. It's coming along nicely. Now I'm about to add the crawfish in. The shrimp goes in at the very, very end because they're so sensitive and I like them nice and tender. Okay. Stir it in. It's starting to look right. I'm gonna add a little bit of the gumbo fowl I bought the Tony Chachere's gumbo fowl. Okay, Tony Chachere's gumbo fowl. I really liked his brand of Cajun seasoning. I'm gonna put about 1.5 tablespoons, I would say, because this is really strong and it helps thicken it up, and we don't want it to be too thickened now. That looks about right. And once it's at the thickness that you would like, last but not least, put in your shrimp of choice. And stir it in. It'll cook really quickly because it's nice and hot. And you want your shrimp to still be nice and juicy. So it's best to put them in at the very end. Okay, that's the end result. Nice and delicious. Shrimp, crawfish, andouille sausage, the okra, all of it came together, married each other. It's wonderful.